When you look back at our deep, deep history, there are a lot of big moments. But there's one single discovery that, more than any other, fundamentally reshaped the human story. It didn't just help us survive, it literally changed our bodies, our minds, and what it even means to be us.
So let's just jump right in with a big question. What was it? What one innovation gave our ancient relatives the power to stop being prey, to conquer the night, and eventually to take over the entire planet? Well, as you've probably guessed, it was mastering the flame.
And just to put this in perspective, we're not talking about recent history here. We are going way, way back, an almost unimaginable 1 million years ago. This wasn't just another neat trick. This was the dawn of a whole new era for our species.
Okay, so who were these first fire starters? And really, how on earth do we even know about something that happened so long ago? Let's get into the detective work.
So, let me introduce you to the star of our show, our very distant ancestor, Homo erectus. All the evidence we have points to this incredible species with their bigger brains and more modern bodies as the first true pioneers of fire. They were the ones who harnessed a technology that would change everything that came after. Now, what's so cool about this is that it's not like they left behind a How to Make Fire for Dummies manual. The proof is way more subtle. Archaeologists have to act like forensic investigators, piecing together this ancient story from microscopic clues left behind in the dirt.
And these are some of the crime scenes, so to speak, at places like Gesher Benot Yaakov in Israel, or deep inside Wonderwork Cave in South Africa. These are lower Paleolithic sites, the early Stone Age. Scientists have found these tiny, microscopic traces of wood ash and little charred bone fragments. And they're not from a random wildfire. They're in concentrated spots that look exactly like controlled campfires. It's an amazing window into daily life 1 million years ago.
So, what was the immediate, game-changing impact of all this? Well, it was about one thing above all else: survival. Fire kicked off the first great revolution in the human story.
I mean, just look at this contrast. It's literally night and day. Before fire, nighttime was terrifying. You were vulnerable, you were prey. But afterwards, a simple campfire creates a protective circle of light and warmth. The day doesn't end when the sun goes down. And maybe most importantly, it gave us the warmth that we needed to start venturing out of Africa and into much colder, harsher parts of the world.
But keeping our ancestors safe and warm? That was just the beginning. Fire started a second revolution, one that happened inside their own bodies. It created the world's very first kitchen.
Cooking seems so simple to us now, but for early humans, it was a biological game changer. Just by heating food, they were essentially pre-digesting it outside the body. This made food softer, killed off dangerous germs, and unlocked a ton of nutrients they couldn't get at before. It literally changed our anatomy over time. We developed smaller jaws and shorter guts because the fire was doing all the hard work.
And this process had this incredible biological payoff. See, digesting tough, raw food takes a massive amount of energy. By outsourcing that job to the fire, the body suddenly had all this extra energy saved up. And where did that surplus energy go? Well, it was funneled straight to one place: our incredibly power-hungry brains, allowing them to grow larger and more complex.
And all of a sudden, the menu just exploded with new options. Tough roots and tubers you could never eat raw, now they're on the table. Meat became way safer and easier to chew, and fire even led to the first food preservation techniques, like smoking and drying. You could actually save food for later, which is a huge deal when you're trying to survive.
So, with safety and nutrition taken care of, fire ignited a third revolution, a social one. It didn't just change how our ancestors ate, it completely changed how they lived together.
This quote just nails it perfectly. The hearth wasn't just a kitchen. It was the heart of the community. It was the first place where people gathered for reasons that went beyond just, not getting eaten. Think about it. Around that fire, a whole new kind of society was being forged. The campfire was where stories were told, where plans were made for the next day's hunt, where knowledge was shared. Just the simple act of keeping a fire going requires cooperation and teaching the next generation. These are the absolute building blocks of culture.
Okay, so let's tie all these threads together now. You've got safety, you've got better food, and you have stronger social bonds. What happens when you combine all of those things? You get one final, world-changing revolution: global expansion.
And this right here, this is the key takeaway.
Without the warmth to survive freezing nights and the ability to cook whatever local foods they could find, the migration of early humans out of Africa would have been flat out impossible. Fire was their portable environment. It was the survival kit that unlocked the rest of the planet for us.
So, as we start to wrap this up, it's just so clear that the legacy of this one discovery is written into our DNA, into our societies, and into the entire path of human history.
So let's just run through it one more time. Fire gave us survival, turning the dangerous night into a safe haven. It gave us the nutrition that fueled our growing brains. It gave us society, built around a central gathering point. It unlocked the entire planet for us, and it was the first step on the road to all future technology, from pottery to metallurgy.
So, I want you to think about it this way. We often give credit to things like the wheel or writing as the start of civilization, but you can make a really powerful argument that it all started much, much earlier, with a simple, controlled flame. Fire wasn't just another tool, it was the engine of our evolution.
And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about, doesn't it? Fire was the ancient technology that completely remade our species and our world from the ground up. So as we look around today, what technology holds that same kind of world remaking potential for our future?